Well, initially, it actually started when I was probably in like kindergarten. My family had a community fish tank, and there were just like a bunch of different species of fish in there, and one of the species was guppies. And I remember coming home from school like one day and like finding just like this baby fish swimming around like in the top of the plants, and that was like really cool. So I actually like scooped it out because all the other fish obviously were chasing after it, and kind of like put it in its own little like tank. It was actually like a peanut butter jar that I had cleaned out, and like just kind of watched this thing grow for like a couple weeks. And fast forward a couple years, I ended up like trying to breed a bunch of different other fish. So I think that kind of is what I attribute to like my first experience that really got me interested in like biology. And then in middle school, I also started running and was just like plagued by injuries. And it wasn't until around like high school that I started training with like a coach that kind of taught me like some drills that were like outside of the box and got me to like use my body in a different way that allowed me to like run without pain for like the first time in years. And that really made me like question like, oh, okay, like what is it that I can understand about biology and math and physics to like help me understand how like I myself can move and other animals can move. I guess in high school, really, I think the thing that like cinched it was I was talking about, I mentioned my coach earlier. So she had done this thing when she was in high school where she had like had a program, like a squat workout program written for her that would like calculate the amount of work it took you to like run, let's say like a mile. And then you knew how much work it took you to do like a certain amount of squats, right? So you could, in theory, figure out the number of squats that is equivalent to a mile. And so then like what it comes down to is just how quickly you want to run that mile in. And you have to be able to like perform that amount of squats in that period of time. So I was like really intrigued by that. And so I took it upon myself to like take those numbers and kind of like crunch that like calculation or equation for my own like personal numbers, like body weight and things like that. And so I ended up doing that and like did it for a 2-mile race like in my track season, and was able to like train myself to run like under 10 minutes for a 2-mile race. And it was just like insane to me that like the day or the next meet after I'd completed this workout that allowed me to run whatever like a 10-minute 2-mile, I like hit that number like on the dot. So it was just really cool to like see how like math equations and like the physics actually tie into like biological systems and like see that in myself. And so that's what like led me to pursue kind of more mathematics and physics and biology in like school. Yeah, I'd recommend just trying as many things as you can and taking advantage of like opportunities that might arise. So like in high school, I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian rather than, here at a PhD program. And so like there was a summer program for like a week where I went to a university where there was a vet school. And they like showed us around, gave us a tour, had us meet like a bunch of vets and stuff like that. And it was like a really cool experience. I got to put my hand like inside of a cow's stomach, which was really kind of smelly and just, I don't know, bizarre. It's a cool experience. But I ultimately decided, right, that wasn't for me. But like if I had never had that experience, like I wouldn't have known. So yeah, and then I even over the summers, like I worked as basically an athletic trainer a lot of the times as like a job, and that kind of got me more interested in like human locomotion and things like that. I think I probably would try to learn how to code earlier on. Not that that's like necessary for you to like know coming into graduate school, but just working with really large data sets, it's been like so helpful to know how to use tools like MATLAB or R, things like that, like Python. I came in virtually knowing nothing, took a class that was in like R Studio and like learned that, and then really quickly had to learn MATLAB for like all my coding essentials. And I was like proficient at Excel and stuff like that. But yeah, just kind of trying to get some experience with coding beforehand would be helpful.